Hello and welcome to Coffee with the Councillor. My name's Mel Ashworth and I have the pleasure of having the company, of Councillor Roger Bailey. Welcome to the set.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, which ward do you represent?
Broad Oak and Uphill.
Broad Oak and Uphill, so not far. And which party are you with?
I'm with the Conservative Party.
Right, okay, we'll just get that out of the way.
Conservative councillor.
Yes, yes. How long have you been a councillor?
Since May of this year, so...
Is that the first time you've stood?
Yes, first time, and really since coming back to West-super-Mare, this is the first time I've really got involved in politics, and because I've always been interested in it, but I was introduced into canvassing for John Penrose when he stood for election, and prior to that, and it's a fantastic feeling to be empowered to be part of the political process.
Yes, absolutely.
To feel your views are making a difference.
Yes. So that sort of prompted you to stand for yourself?
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
It did.
How did you find that experience?
I was very privileged that I was asked to stand for Broad Oak and Uphill because that's where I grew up.
Really?
When I was younger in Uphill.
So did you go to Broad Oak School?
No, I went to Uphill Primary School and then Uphill Comprehensive School, and but I left about 4 years. I was only about a 4-year period, but it was a wonderful time of my life.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to come back.
Right.
And I was bereft because my father was in the fire brigade, so he moved jobs quite often, and I was bereft when I had to leave Uphill.
Really?
So I was delighted to come back, and it's been wonderful since I've been back.
Where did you go when you moved?
South Somerset. We were based in. Dad had various jobs in South Somerset, and obviously I've moved since then.
Yes.
Quite a few times, but basically came back to Somerset, South Somerset mostly, and now I've come back really to my home.
Yeah.
I think
full circle.
It's full circle.
How long have you been back in Weston then?
Since 2004, when I first bought my house.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And presumably you have family and.
Yes, I've got 2 daughters. One of my daughters was living in West-super-Mare. She's moved out now, but it's not far away. But so that's one of the other reasons I wanted to come back.
Yes.
But also, you move near your daughter, near your relations, and they move away as well.
Yes.
So these things happen.
So you went to Uphill, and you went to Uphill Comp.
Yeah.
And then did you go on to college, or what happened then?
No, I wanted to become an architect.
All right.
Goodness knows why. And in between looking for a job as an architect, there was a job vacancy advertised in computing. And this is when I was 20. And I've been in IT or computing ever since.
Oh.
I'm still in it.
Okay.
Still working, amazingly.
Wow.
So I was in computing very, very early.
Yeah.
The computers were about as big as this room.
Yes,
I mean, it's difficult to imagine, but they were huge and very, very complicated.
But do you love it? Do you love working with them?
It's been a huge part of my life. I've had a terrific career. I think if you don't like things, you're never going to do them particularly well.
No,
to do things for over 40-odd years, you've got to like them. But you know, computing has changed so much, and I've designed systems, written systems, implemented systems. I developed systems and applications that have been exported abroad, and I've been running my own company since 1986. So,
oh wow!
Yeah,
fabulous.
Yeah.
Have you travelled abroad a lot?
Well, since I sort of only for myself, as it were, not in a business sense. I have done some foreign travel for business. I went to Germany and so on, but mostly in the UK.
Yeah, yeah. What sort of thing are you passionate about? You know, whether in life or in local politics?
I suppose that's a good question. I think as you get older, your passions tend to lessen, I suppose. Fairness, I suppose. I'm passionate about our country, about England, and about West-super-Mare, and certainly about Uphill. But I mean, I don't have overriding. I think I'm busy,
I think
really,
that
and I
pretty
think
good.
as an objective, I think is to try and live my passion is to try and live my life as full as I possibly can,
Yes.
to take whatever opportunities I've got.
Yes.
Because one of the things I am very good at is I'm very determined. If I set myself a set of objectives, I
Yes.
like to try
fulfill
everything I
them.
can. I mean, I worked on one project where I worked for 3 years towards an objective, sometimes part-time, sometimes full-time.
Yeah. So you can bring that into local politics and keep
Yes.
that a project.
I mean,
to
it's early
help you.
days for me, because I said I haven't been a councillor since May. And I have been involved in, people have emailed me and written to me, so I have been involved in some not projects, but some aspects of council work. Obviously, town council, I haven't got overall, it's very much, we're limited as to what aspects we can get involved in.
Yes, and you're very much learning still
Yeah,
at this,
very much
this
learning.
stage. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Interesting though, it's always very interesting, and getting people to ask, sort of interacting with people, and people do treat you with respect, so it's very endearing, really, in that sense. They expect you to know a lot, perhaps more than you do.
Yes.
But it's obviously we're in a place where we can find out information,
That's
and we
right,
have
exactly.
the inside track to seek out what is going on,
Absolutely.
and to affect it, of course.
3 people you'd invite to a dinner party.
I thought you'd ask that. Well,
Who would you like to meet, living or dead?
Certainly, I've always thought Winston Churchill I would love to have met. Of course, when I was of an age when I had that desire, he was very, very old, but he's certainly an absolutely fascinating character, and Margaret Thatcher as well.
Okay, that's 2. One more.
Well, the other one who is absolutely fascinating is John Lennon, but...
John Lennon. That's fine, because
I think if I
at
had more
this dinner
time...
party, we can bring anyone back.
I think if I had more time, I'd be able to sort of come up with some alternatives. But
Those are good, that's good. Now, blue sky thinking, if you think without limits, what would you love to see for Weston?
I'd like to see more jobs, certainly.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Junction 21 sorted out.
Yes, we all.
I think the difference in Weston-super-Mare in the front since I came back in 2004 has been enormous. And the amount of activity that now takes place on the front is fantastic.
Yes.
One of the things I'm really quite passionate about is the water park, which I think has been a huge success, and it's fantastic to see it so busy.
Wonderful.
But I mean, blue sky. Yes, really. I suppose that's it's I suppose looking back on the 60s, there were lots and lots of jobs. Nowadays, there are very few jobs. I would love if my grandchildren had those opportunities I had, of being able to have lots of different jobs to find out your niche in the world.
And our final question is, how would you inspire young people to get involved in local politics, to believe they can make a difference?
Well, nothing like easy
question to
nothing like
answer.
easy questions. No.
But
All I can say is it's important that they do. It is important that young people feel part of the governing process, that they can make a difference. To some extent, it's up to them how they do it. I mean, certainly looking back at the 60s, I mean, there were people involved in protests. Not that I was ever involved. I was never. I always conformed. Whether that's good or bad, I always conformed. But at least people were involved. And now I'm in politics to be involved, to feel, not to feel necessarily making a difference, but to feel that you're doing your bit, that you can justify your actions, I think is important.
yes.
So, I mean, today's society is so different to what it was when I was growing up.
Absolutely.
So different.
Completely.
And you know, older people always say, well, it's not as good as when I was young. It isn't, in many ways it isn't. But in some ways it is better. But I just wish...
In what way do you think it's better, just out of interest?
You've got so many, I mean, communication, you've got so many different, I mean, the inventions that we've had in that time, the microwaves, the mobile phones, the cars are so much better. I mean, having said that, I bought my first car for £40 and my insurance was probably minimal. But so there are some ways it's better, but whether society as a whole is better, I don't know. Certainly when we were younger, certainly everybody was very smartly dressed, and people don't think of that nowadays.
Do you think that makes a difference when you go for
interviews? Sure it does,
yeah.
yes. So, psychologically it makes a difference to people, I think.
To people personally. So if they smarten themselves up, they actually feel better about themselves.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Not that clothes have been necessarily something that, I mean, my father never bothered about his clothes at all. Very English, threw things on and always went gardening in his best suit. And I used to tell him a bit like that myself. But I do think it makes a difference. People certainly used to be that people used to take pride in their appearance. Because I think basically, because they couldn't afford, clothes were that much more expensive.
Yeah.
You wanted to show off that you could afford these clothes.
Right.
Whereas now clothes are a lot less expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So people perhaps don't value them. I don't know. But these things go in cycles, don't they? Go
Yes, they tend to.
And hopefully the fashion will come back. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, Roger Bailey, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Okay, Mel.
And that's it from Coffee with the Councillor for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.